Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Microsoft Flight Simulator Cape to Cairo in a Cessna 152 journey. We have a bunch of rules that we set up for ourselves. You can have a look at them here or watch episode 1. On our most recent flight, we did a short flight from Keetmanshoop to a little town called Kus, or however you pronounce that. This was our first real, mostly visual flight. Basically, just had a VOR in the beginning, so still had some VOR access. The road and the salt pan was quite useful aids for us to get to where we got. Here we see what we did in our plan, or what the actual trail was. We followed that road nicely, met it there, saw the airfield, saw the pan, landed successfully. I should just remind myself to clear this. There we go, and let's get started. For this flight, in this entire point, we never picked up that VOR, so its range is not. I don't count it here as having access to that. So we're gonna do everything completely visually. We can even remove our range rings. We're going to be starting at a small little airfield here. Runway 36 is probably fine. And my rule, what I set out for myself after that disastrous getting lost session, is when we have no other aids to work with, we will go to the closest airport or airfield in the direction we want to go. It appears to be this one. There's also this one, maybe easier to get to, but I feel we should at least try and go in a northerly direction. It's got a very interesting name. Not sure why a airfield in the middle of Namibia would be called Moscow Landing Site, but that's where we're gonna go. The few landmarks I saw here is there's a road, I'm assuming that's a dirt road, that follows this river, the Olifants River. There's another airfield I spotted here called Lekker Drink Airstrip, which in Afrikaans would translate to drink, have fun drinking type of thing, which I would not associate with an airstrip, so maybe if you land there, it's fine. Anyway, what's our plan gonna be? Again, we have no GPS, obviously, we have no navigational aids. Interestingly, there are some small airstrips as well that I spot every now and then that aren't classified as real airports, but it'll be interesting in the future if I can maybe highlight them a little bit more, because right now, we'll take anything we can get in this sort of desert area that we're in now. I think when we get a little bit closer here, we'll start getting greener. Closer to the city seems to be more populated, although I had a quick look earlier. The VORs here are also of the short range. If we zoom in there, you may not be able to see it, but that's 38 miles. So again, short range, not very, very useful. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to take off into this north direction. We're going to bank right. We're going to find this road, stay on it, and then it seems that we have two options. We can either basically carry on with this road, which I'm assuming is probably a dirt road, and take it up there, keep on following. I think there's two rivers joining here. Follow the right fork of the river. But other option is probably just to stay on this road, see the road river, and then join that side. Difficult to say what would be the best. Probably the same. And then we are going in that direction, following the river. what I think is going to be useful. Let's just set our final destination here. Probably landing runway 33, since if we see it from far enough we might even not have to fly past it, but I want to get some good measurements here for distance. It's not a very long flight. Hopefully this is a bit shorter video than some of the others. We're gonna just measure some distances and get some general headings for ourselves. So we're gonna go this way. That's gonna be at 40 degrees at 11 miles. And then we're gonna measure another distance to there. Probably useful to... I'm not sure if I should... Maybe I should have added this to my flight plan instead. Let's have a... While we're here, let's try and also learn the software that we're using. I don't know how to erase this. Let's see. Add position to flight plan. Okay, that shows me heading. Yeah, I think that's a way better way to go. I don't know how to remove these. I have yet to be unable to remove them. I'll figure that out hopefully. Add position to flight plan. I think this is better for multiple reasons. It gives me a more accurate flying distance that we're gonna fly, as well as maybe elevation, since it actually takes the position that we're going into account. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to see all these distances and angles in our little plugin that we use inside the app. So that looks reasonable to me. Does this tell me my total distance? Yes. So total distance 63 nautical miles, time around 39 minutes. Yeah, that's really nice. Again, Moscow landing here in Namibia for whatever reason. I'll check if I can see what that means. Okay, I think that's enough. Let's get to it. I already set up the general 2 airports, just so that if I decide that, then it's already defaulted for me here. We're gonna take off around 8 o'clock. Forgot to check the weather, but I don't think it should be a big issue. So, our first true one and... Ooh.
Foxtrot Yankee Tango Sierra traffic Cessna 42 taking off runway 36 departure to the north.
Something went wrong there. 6 o'clock. No, unfortunately. That will not do. I think there may be a way for me to do this without wait, weather, time. Yeah. See, it's done this once or twice before, where it goes to the complete wrong time, but through the magic of technology, we let some time pass. I think 1:45 sounds fun. Looking at the weather. Yeah, let's make it a little harder on ourselves. Let's do this one. So we're gonna fly, pretend we have got a really, not ATC, sorry, I want to see my nav plan, because I need to remind myself, because now we don't want to make any mistakes, because we have no very dependable way of recovering from them. So we're going to take off. We're going to immediately try and find this road, because if we go too far, we're going to probably hit that road. So we want to take off. We want to go in a general, it appears to be 53 degrees magnetic. Sorry, let me just put this up here so you can also see it. So 53 degrees. So we're going to fly that way. We're facing effectively north, at least magnetic north. We're going to fly for 9 miles. Okay, good let's get started. Let's double check that everything seems to be. I'm not sure how exactly you would do this if you're on your own. Do you get someone to double check all of your control surfaces? Who even knows? I don't want the map there. I'll have it later on maybe, but for takeoff it's important. Do we see our lovely windsock somewhere? Is there even a windsock? I remember we're in a very small airfield, small town. Okay, let's get going. Flaps are up, mixture is full, parking brake is off. There are other more important things, but I think that those are the critical ones. I'm gonna try have a little bit of a better takeoff than our previous ones. I'm gonna start at around 60 to rotate. There we go. It's a little bit darker than I hoped, but we need to make a bank. I don't want to bank too early because we're still in our climbing phase. If I were to bank too early, I could risk stalling, and we really don't want that. Okay, the road is on a heading of 40 degrees, so I'm seeing two roads here, and now I'm already confused. That's 90 degrees. No, that's that one. We don't want. I'm gonna just confirm here. Let's see, it's the first road. Yeah, it has to be this one. Just gonna bring up the map. Oh, beautiful sun.
Cessna 152, 2 miles northeast of Foxtrot, Yankee Tango Sierra, 3,700 feet.
So this, I'm glad I did this. 40 degrees, that's 60 degrees. Let's just turn. Double check that we are on a road that is at least matching our heading. Looks to be the case. Yes, about 40 degrees. Okay. Confident enough, that's our road. We're gonna expect a fork in the road. We need to go on the right fork at 72 degrees.
Roger, Cessna 42.
Magnetic. Good. This is about a 9 mile leg. Still not sure how long that is in terms of minutes. I keep reminding myself that I should probably learn that, but I forget. I'm gonna just feel a little bit here on the mixture. Move my map a little out of the way. See if we can get some more power at this altitude. Not that much. Whoa. I'm still climbing at about 700 feet per minute, but that is a lovely, lovely sunrise. I think the edges in this game, or at least on the quality that I'm able to play, is a little bit sharp and jagged, but one day when we upgrade to a better graphics card, that's probably going to be a little bit prettier. So this is going to be, I think we're going to have a bunch of these flights where, as far as I can see, I see no discernible landmarks, no mountains, no real changes in landscape. It appears to be just desert, So it's a bit strange following a road while you're in a plane. Obviously, if we had GPS, that wouldn't be necessary, but this is what we'll do. I wonder what real pilots did with these kinds of flights. What was how would they have navigated if there was no VORs available, and if you had no GPS? Do you also just follow a road like this? I'm assuming they would know the area quite well, and I'm assuming they probably went through some pilot school, so they probably knew some things that I didn't about headings and distances and time turns and all these things. Okay, we see a little crossroads. At crossroads, not crossroad, I guess it's a crossroad. A junction there that's going off. We are taking the right hand side, carrying on that way for another 12 miles. We just flew about 11 miles, so it shouldn't be too long. I think this flight, I don't want to jinx myself, but I think there is a benefit in choosing these shorter flights. You know, even if we do in a single video 2 flights, maybe, like, I think that's still a better approach. If we could have tried at one shot to get maybe there or there. That would have been possible with that road, actually. But I just feel, you know, keeping a distance shorter would just probably decrease the risk of something going wrong. So, you know, and in the case that something goes wrong, you know, maybe there's still a hope of turning around and flying back to where we took off from, if it's a shorter distance. But if we fly too far, like we did in the dreaded episode 3, we get lost. Okay. I'm gonna assume that is our big. There's a little shorter or smaller road here, but that just looks like it's going to some farm. Where that looks more like a road that connects 2 places. Yeah, that little bend there. It's quite amazing how. I mean, this is an app that uses OpenStreetMap data that a lot of websites and apps and things use, and what we're seeing now is the representation in Flight Simulator from satellite images and those things, and it's just, I mean, it makes sense that it matches up, but it's just quite cool that, you know, we are in an age where this is possible. It still baffles me that the technology is available at this price point. I remember when I can't even remember I think I was late high school at about 2009, 2008 maybe, and we were in a shop, a computer shop here, or like a technology shop, electronic shop if you will, in the waterfront in Cape Town, and there was this demo of, it looked like almost swimming goggles like, and it had, I think if I remember correctly, it was able to connect to an iPod, the old iPods, iPod video, or I'm not sure if they called it iPod video, but the ones that were able to play video. And you could play it at it's basically like virtual reality, but it didn't do any tracking. It was just two screens, well, one screen that you see, and my mind was completely blown. Like, it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I just imagined, being able to lie in bed and look at the ceiling and see. I think the resolution was something like 800 by 640 or something. By today's standards, ridiculous, but I think that was one of the things that really made me enjoy this kind of technology. And the fact that we can get something like this headset at I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's attainable. It's in an attainable bracket. Obviously, gaming PCs are also quite expensive, but again, to have this kind of experience, if you were to go back 10 years, even 5 years, to have a simulator of this quality and visual fidelity would have cost, I don't know, I don't want to, but it would have cost hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever. And now it's available for consumers. It's really great. It reminded me now when I mentioned lying in bed and watching a movie on the ceiling. When we were in high school, I very much enjoyed science. We learned about lenses and focal points and virtual images and all that stuff. And I still had a computer with one of those big box monitors called a CRT monitor, and I did all of the calculations and built a little cardboard box, painted it black with a magnifying glass. I calculated the focal distance of my magnifying glass by measuring the distance that it focused the sun on, like, the cement outside, because the sun's light is as parallel as the light source as you could probably get without having access to some labs and things. Measured that focal distance, measured the distance in my room, and it actually worked. I was able to. It wasn't very bright. That's why projectors have such incredible bright lights inside them, and it flipped the image horizontally, but it worked, and it worked quite well. So I was already a fan of being able to do cool things with screens and technology. Alright, I'm seeing a 90-degree bend here. Oops. I decided to go straight on, so we see the 90-degree bend there. Sorry, we see the 90-degree bend that way, and then the first one to the right we're not going to take. We're gonna go that way. We can probably cut this corner since we're quite confident we're going straight. Let's just look at our heading, 345 degrees. So once we are on that road, we can just do a quick visual confirmation and compass heading verification, so that we're at least double checking what I think I should do. I realize I forgot to check if the runway is grass or cement, but in this area, such a small airfield, my money would be on grass or dirt or whatever. but that should be just fine. Okay, I see this road. I think I already see the road crossing there, so this should be a good one. It looks so close, but I think I underestimate. You know, we're doing just under 100 knots. That's a decent speed. It's not a. I think it's still faster than your legal car speed, and obviously the fact that there's no traffic and that we can cut corners like this. Literally, hopefully, we don't want to cut too many other corners. But I must say, this landscape looks really beautiful. All of these dunes, they don't seem to be incredibly high, but they make these beautiful patterns. Wow. I think it's... well, that sun reflection is beautiful as well. It's places like this that I think is making this this experience worth it for me. Like I said before, I've flown in the famous places before, but you know, you would never out of the blue just say, cool, let's put maybe you would, the Namibian desert is beautiful, but you know, there are all these places that you wouldn't see, and if you just went to the same 10 world famous cities every time. Okay, I think that's good. Let's look at our heading. We're still turning towards this road, but that I'm pretty confident we're going to be at around 350, which 345, yeah, that's good. And I think I already see it a little there in front. There's what seems to be a river. That's going to be one of our main points of interest here. So that road seems to follow the river, and we're going to fly probably between the road and river, and that almost looks like we already see the bend that way as well. If we were really brave, it looks like it. I think I see a river that side. If I were feeling incredibly brave, I would probably just cut this corner. I'm just going to get a little bit closer to be a little bit more certain. Maybe I'll aim for the middle part of this, so I can at least get a good visual confirmation that is the intersect there that we are looking for. I'm 99.9% sure, but being in an area that is very remote here with no real backup, there is no reason for me to take too much risk, and it won't really be worth it, I think, to deviate too much from my initial flight plan. Yep. So it looks like we're gonna, at least that flight plan will take us due east, magnetic. It's interesting, the lines I drew manually show both the magnetic and the true heading, but it looks like the flight plan only has one heading, and it looks like it only has the magnetic heading. It's the only real important one, I would say, because I'm using a compass that works with magnetic north. So I just found that a little interesting that it wouldn't show both, because what's interesting is we are going to do exactly a 90-degree turn, which would be due east, but if you look at the position of the sun, it's not exact. It doesn't look like it's exactly, because there is some deviation. Okay, as I said, I aimed for the sort of middle point of that intersection. We can be fairly confident that that is indeed that intersection there. So we're aiming for this. Well, we're in this direction going. We can probably eventually turn right, and we will just when we get to this point where these two rivers meet, we are going to follow the rightmost river. There it's going to get, I think there's also a road there. It looks like it, probably some small dirt road. We won't have such a pronounced road maybe, but we'll just need to follow the river the road that's next to the river. Okay, I actually do want to join up with this road, because then it'll give me some time to do my planning. So incredibly flat in this area. No mountains, just desert. One other thing that I forgot to mention, the airplanes do have, well, you can set it in the game, but I do have full damage enabled. So if I were to land too hard, the game would basically tell me you've had some catastrophic failure. I have had it in the past where if you accidentally deploy the flaps at the speed or something, they would just jam and not work anymore. So yeah, even though we're in a simulator, we can't just land as rough as we want. We need to try and land realistically. Okay, so there's this river. I think, yeah. Oops. This river seems to be this one here in front that joins at this intersection point, and then I see that river there in the far end. So we're confident that that's the river we're aiming towards. So I'm gonna cross this intersection. And we should be in our final leg at around 16 plus 3, about 19 miles. So if we just take that into this area here, from that intersection to that intersection is 7 miles. Looks so close, but okay. I guess everything looks smaller when you're up in the sky. So around just over double that distance, we should start seeing our airfield. So I think, let's see, what I forgot to do, it was a bit foolish of me, is just to see if we see other. I'm just going to turn to the heading of that river. I do see the road is actually quite pronounced. That's good. So I don't actually think there are many landmarks in this area. There seems to be some. Is that a bridge maybe? It might be a bridge. It's probably a little road that goes to the airfield. So that'll be a good beacon to look out for. see something here, but this cannot... That can't be our airfield. No, it's probably just some road. We're just at this intersection now. Okay, so this river seems... Okay, here's a interesting landmark. There's a part where the river seems to deviate from... Well, I guess the path, the road deviates from the river. So that seems to be at about... Well, almost exactly where the airfield... Well, close to where the airfield is. About 3.5 miles away. At that point, I think we need to probably see it, so that's a good one for us as a landmark or something. There seems to be some... I wonder what that could be. Either just a patch of farmland or a farm building. Interesting, that little airfield there. Doubt we'll see it. But okay. So far so good. Let's keep our map. It's quite nice to have the map readily available here, but I also don't want it to block my nice view as well. Some house there. Lovely. Must be quite nice to... Oh, it must be very interesting to live in a place like this, really far removed from a big metropolitan areas. So I'm guessing it's either some farms or just some people that enjoy living here. If I just have another quick look at my map, confirm our airfield is going to be on the left side or west bank of the river. It's roughly parallel to the river. Our runway is going to be 3-3, or if you say it as you're supposed to, 3-3. Don't know why they say it tree, almost like a plant tree. I think it has to do with the phonetic alphabet and the fact that the sound is hard in some languages or for some non-English speaking people, and that's why they went with that. I may be wrong. There's a few deviations like Niner because of the German 9, which means no, I guess. Can imagine that on a day like this in this desert it's probably incredibly hot. Looking at that sun, no, there is nothing to block it, no mountains to cause some updraft and rain or something. No tree, some trees here. I'm not sure how realistic that is. That's one of the upgrades they promised to bring to the next version of this game is more diversity in terms of biomes, different kinds of vegetation and grasses and trees and flowers. I think they're, when they made this game, it came out in 2020, but it probably was a couple of years in the works. What we now call AI or whatever wasn't that. There were a lot of improvements in the last few years, so I'm guessing they're gonna leverage a lot of those improvements with generative AI and all those buzzwords that we hear everywhere. Just having a quick look here, I see a bunch of quite sharp bends here. That one, yeah, I think we're here. I think that bend is probably that one. Then it makes a little round area, goes straight again. I guess I'm gonna guess that's where we are. So after that straight area, we should see the road continuing and the river making a bit of a bend to the outside. I do think I already see that. And then we should be very close. And it's following the river and making our way to the airfield. I hope the name of my video doesn't get me into any YouTube trouble. The name of the landing site or airfield. I was surprised when I saw that name. It's a bit bizarre to me, but maybe I'll Google it afterwards and see why it's called that. What could the possible? I'm not sure what the reason could be. Okay. Now it's time. Yeah, here is definitely that little outcrop I spoke of the river. It's a very, very blue river. Almost too blue. So here is our outcrop, and a little bit further on, and then we should spot our runway there on the left of the river. Seems to be a big flat area here in front. If I were a runway, that would probably be where I would be hiding. After that, it looks like the dunes are quite close to the river again. Let's remind ourselves we're heading to runway 33. So right now our heading is between 35 and 36. So it should point a little bit more to our left. This is that straight off. Okay, so it's probably still a little bit further. If I can just double check. Yeah, that's where the river just merged and came back. Then we have a big straight area there. And we're doing a turn to the right, yep. And then a bit of an outcrop, and then back to the right, and then we should have our runway. Seeing something in the front that does appear to look like a runway. Is it maybe that line there? There's only one runway, so that's... Is that it? I'm gonna reduce my speed a little. I'm just looking for other things to familiarize myself with this area, because if we do need to turn around, we will need to turn around. I'm not convinced that that's a runway. It is an awfully big straight line. It's not quite. If I turn the plane a little bit, is that at runway 33? I don't know. No, surely that can't be a runway. I think that's today's things you don't want your pilot to say. But I have my doubts about that one. It looks like there's a bunch of... I'm not sure if it's agricultural activities here. But no, this is not a runway. We keep on looking. I sincerely hope that
Foxtrot Yankee Alpha Echo traffic Cessna 421 miles east, 4,300 feet inbound to land runway tree.
What? Okay. Didn't quite understand what they said there. It's a very big possibility that I'm just going to reduce my speed. Although there's still a few bends after this. That's quite a sharp bend. There are no sharp bends there on this. Nah. Okay, let's just have a look. Oops. Some glitching there. I'm gonna fly a little bit further. I mean, there's a possibility that could be our runway. Am I maybe thinking too close? I don't know. Am I too close to the river? Was there anything else that side? What I'll do is I'll fly till I know that I'm definitely too far. Because are we already at this point? At least we can always go back to that point. I can't remember. Did we see this very sharp curve? I think we did. And now we're seeing a bunch of quite sharp curves. Okay. We're not in an emergency state yet, but I feel that I should have seen an airfield by this point. What is that? I feel that we should have seen an airfield, and I don't think we did. So I'm actually gonna get some altitude. We're trying to get some altitude. Because maybe I'm a little bit too low to see it. Gonna try and turn around. It does feel that the plane is struggling a little bit. What's my altitude? 5,000. Okay, so the river is our beacon. We are not beacon, our point of reference. We still have decent altitude above the ground. Just maybe gonna do a quick pass a little bit further away. Maybe I was too focused on the river itself. I actually think that first piece of land we saw may have actually been that. It's, I think, with these very small airfields, the game doesn't exactly, render an entire airport. So from this side, let's see. This side, our runway heading will be 15. So 15. Whoops. Okay. We are now flying in a 15, almost 15 heading. It's a little bit more to the left of our current heading. Big patch of dirt there. We can always do an emergency landing there, but it would be nice if we actually, we see a little bridge indicated there. I'm not sure if they would render that on this game. Just moved our heading. I think, sometimes, yeah, so 334 or so I'm thinking that piece of land there. Do you see a road here? Do we see a road going to the... If that is the case, I don't know. I'm just trying to keep my eye out here. Could... I do see a little... okay, I see a road going there. There's a road here, but this doesn't go to a runway. Okay. This is a big flat area regardless. That can't be it, can it? A little bit concerning. I can't think that it's anything else than that big flat piece of land that we initially saw. So we are probably just gonna go land there. if it's a big flat piece of land and we can land, then we can also take off, so that's good. So I'm quickly going to just use our one piece of interesting geography here, where the road and the river split. I'm gonna actually keep this ahead, and we're just gonna see, basically follow each of these bends. We still have enough fuel. We don't need to land immediately. Based off of this, the distances that I see here, I think the runway is pretty much very close to the river. Try and start a bank here next to the river bank. Alright, I guess be careful what you wish for. If everything was going so nicely, but the most important part is obviously the finding the airport or airfield, and we seem to have struggled with that. So let's remind ourselves, this is where the river rejoins the road. I'm gonna try and fly a little bit slower, maybe even with one level of flaps, so we can really go slowly. Not yet. Okay, we go forward just after our river bend. The road's rejoined with the river. We see a right hand angle. We see it confirmed. We see a little in-out bend. I see a little in-out bend. We go straight a little. I see that. I'm gonna just wait till we get there. We're not trying to land now. We're trying to positively identify the airfield. Looks like I'm in range of flaps, so I'll make it a little bit easier on myself. You saw the nose went up when the flaps were deployed, but this will mean we'll be able to fly a little bit slower and not drop out of the sky, hopefully. Okay. So that little bend there is that part. I don't think in the real world this would be this hard. I think, an airfield would probably be more discernible than this. Maybe I am just trying to compensate for the fact that I'm struggling, but it's fine. Okay, there's the little straight part, then it turns back to the right. We see that. Then we're in a pretty much straight area here. Yeah, I think that is my runway. It's too much of a straight line. It seems to match exactly what I see here. There's a little road here. If I'm gonna try and go down a little. I'll have to bring the flaps back up because going down is gonna make me too fast. So flaps back up. If I can see that little road, or maybe even a bridge, I think then that's definitely our runway. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Runway 3. It's not exactly 3-3. I'm gonna just try and get a little bit of a view here. Yeah, there's a little road there. Is that the little bridge? Maybe no, it's not the bridge. But there's a little road going through there. Okay. At the very least, if it isn't our runway, which I'm pretty confident now that it has to be, at the very least it's a flat field. So just gonna full throttle here, not pull up the front too fast, just ensure that we get some good airspeed, slowly go up. We're gonna do one more flyby. We don't need to go all the way to the we don't need to go all the way to the area where the river and the road split. I think we're that if that isn't the runway, then there is no runway here. It's my final verdict. I just hope when we land that I'm not in a completely different area. But I mean, why would that piece of that's so you can see it there quite clearly. It's fairly straight. Or no, it's dead on straight piece of land on a flat area that matches exactly where this map says. So that's what we're going with. It would be interesting in the real world if I saw some cars and things there, or some buildings, so hopefully they would have some fuel for me that I could, refuel the plane if this was a real journey. But yeah, we're just gonna go out a little and come in for the final landing now. See this dirt road here that seemingly goes just past that. I wonder if that is another indicator on our map. Fortunately, it doesn't show it on this map. Doesn't show it anywhere, so okay. Okay, so our first real bush landing almost. Only thing that makes me worry is that there were that one airfield we saw as a little icon, but this is a full, it has a code and everything. So it can't be completely abandoned. I'll be curious to know if that's a function of the simulator more than anything else. Okay, I think this is a good enough point to start turning again, hopefully the last time. Oops, I am fairly confident that this is correct. I'm still just gonna do a quick scan to see if anything else pops up, but maybe I'm a little bit too close here. It's okay. So we're aiming for runway 33. Okay. the supposed runway in sight. And nearly aligned, or nearly in line. Not yet aligned. Okay. So that's what we think is our runway right there. That has to be it. I'm gonna reduce my throttle again. Point my nose up a little. Lead off, try and glide and lead off some of this speed we gained from going down. I'm gonna deploy our first level of flaps. Do feel some wind. Second level of flaps. You can even put more flaps if you want. I don't want to. I don't think it's necessary. Final scan, seeing if we see a more reasonable area. And I think this is. We need to brace. This might be a bumpy landing. It's okay. Okay, at least the ground seems fairly straightforward. Oh, sorry, very even. I'm just gonna quickly do a little. I see a little road there, maybe. Let's just turn around. Okay, are we at an airfield? That is, I think, the interesting part. Let's bring our parking brake out. Sorry, I was too focused on, and I should have brought my flaps up while we were on the ground. Throttle, that's fine. Mixture cut. Turn the magneto, alternator off, battery master off. My guess is we are not at an airfield, or at least not anymore, because usually the game is like, cool, that's where you want it to be, right? So that's an interesting one. Where could we possibly be? You could always just take off and try again, but what I think we need to do, we're on the ground. We need to verify just for our own sake, because we need to take off from this area again. But it does definitely appear that we're not on a runway. So let's, or at least not at an airport. It might be that we're just on the edge and then the game didn't pick it up. So we're gonna have a quick look. Consider me this the equivalent of walking to that houses and saying, hey, where on earth are we? So let's have a look. No, we are here. We are exactly here. Okay, so the game probably just, maybe it's because I'm still on the runway. Maybe it's because, let's just have a look at our flight plan. Okay. So the runway was probably, in terms of the game, ever so slightly to the right, and just because I stopped on the runway, it probably didn't register that I'm here. But in the real world, there would be some sign. Oops, there would definitely be a sign. Okay, so all in all, not too bad. We definitely got here quite easily, following exactly as I intended. Everything went quite well, except that runway was incredibly hard to spot. I spotted this at the very beginning. That was my initial thought, but I was very, very doubtful. We can have a quick look in the simulator. Because we're on the ground, we can do this. If we go outside, is this? I don't know. It's telling me I'm exactly on the runway. I don't see, like, usually a runway would be at least indicated by mowing the grass differently or something, but I'm happy that we made it to the right place. I hope you enjoyed the flight. Thank you very much if you made it this far. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.